Welcome to DIY Roof Repairs with Bill. I'm Bill Reagan. Today we're going to be repairing one of the most common roof leaks that we run into, and it's replacing a pipe boot. Let's get started. So we grab all of our materials, set up roof access, and then we're going to take all of our materials up onto the roof and head over to this pipe that we're going to be changing out. First thing we're going to do is we're going to start removing the shingles around the vent stack. Some of these are harder than others, especially if they've used tar and screws, which a lot of HVAC companies do. And this particular pipe, you can tell it's an HVAC pipe because it has an elbow on the top of it. And you just have to start taking shingles out above it and then take all the shingles out around it. And that's just by, you have to take every nail out of the shingles. And then you're also, on this particular one, you're working through tar. You also want to be careful not to damage the shingles that are not affected by this pipe boot. When removing the old pipe boot, you want to be careful with the pipe not to dislodge it in the attic if it's not connected properly. You want to make sure and remove all the existing nails and screws from the old pipe boot before you start putting the new shingles on. Get the area good and cleaned up before you get started. And we're going to start with our first shingle that's below the boot itself. So you trim it to fit into place. Make sure and nail it properly. And then we're going to cut the gasket out of the boot to fit the pipe itself and install it on the pipe. Sometimes with these elbows, it makes it a little bit harder to put on. Just be careful with it when you're putting it on there, especially if there's a little bit of room or a little play in the pipe. Once we get the boot on, we fasten it, and I always fasten it where the fasteners don't show at the bottom. So I'm fastening it above the nail line in the shingles and then putting nails at the top. There's several different ways to mark where that pipe's at. I just put reference lines on the shingle and then cut out where the boot comes up through the shingles. But I always nail it like you would if you were installing shingles. I try to use the same nail lines. So we're trimming out the shingle around where it goes up and over. This is the last shingle that goes up and over the pipe. And these lines you see on the shingle, they're the nail lines, and I always use the bottom double lines. And then when you finish, you clean up all the debris. We always make sure and get all of our nails, all the little bitty pieces of tar and anything else off the roof. And then we pile it up and carry it over to the truck if I didn't bring a trash bag up onto the roof with me. And then we're done. Another great day. Thanks for watching. And remember to subscribe so you never miss another DIY Roof Repair with Bill. Have a great day.